The amount of resources you can farm on Valguero is just stupid. In this video, I will show you farming methods that are so good, they feel like cheating. Hello Dodo crew and welcome back for another video on Ark Survival Ascended. Farming element on Valguero is straight up a pain. The Mega Raptor Grendel not only deals a ton of damage, has multiple phases and multiple painful abilities, it can also take a hit. Luckily, most of the artifacts on Valguero are quite easy to obtain and you only have to manage the Gamma variant, which is already damn hard. Grendel has what I call several phases. In the first phase I call it the fight phase, you can simply face him and fight him. In the second phase, the fog phase, fog sets in and creatures like Deinonychus and vultures spawn in the arena to fight you. During this phase, Grendel is invisible and repeatedly jumps on you to deal additional damage. You can recognize him by the red mark on the ground where he will land after a few seconds. When you're in the fog phase, a totem that produces fog will be marked in the distance. You must then get to this totem as quickly as possible and deactivate it so that Grendel becomes visible again. As you can see, even with my strong Rexes, I barely survived. I simply wouldn't recommend farming Grendel for anyone. For the 90 element on Gamma, you can simply kill an easier boss. This gives you 90 element on Gamma every time you complete it, which you can collect at the end of the fight in a small beacon which spawns in the arena. You get 90 element for Gamma, 255 for Beta and 520 for Alpha. If you want to know where you get all artifacts for Valguero, check out the linked video. On a side note, as if I'm editing this, I'm at about 7k subs. If you could sub to help me reaching my goal of 10k subs by the end of this year, I would greatly appreciate it. To farm metal, we start in the Aberration Zone in the Aberration Cave at 37.5 and 57.3. There, you have to go quite far into the cave until you reach the starting point at approximately 35 and 65. At this point, you're exactly between the green, radiation and the blue zone. And from there, a path leads down further into the cave. The radiation and blue zone have a significant number of metal nodes that you can farm with your Anki. Unlike on the surface or water, all of these rocks are also metal nodes and give an incredible amount of metal when you farm them. To farm in this region, you need a Carcinus and should bring at least 2 aberrant Ankis with you. It's best to bring a female and a male Anki, so that they get a mate boost and therefore farm more metal per hit. Since the auto farm update, you don't even have to mount your Ankis. If you hold them close enough to a metal node with your Carcinus, they will automatically farm metal for you. To increase the yield, you should level your Ankis fully to damage and ensure that they only farm metal in the auto harvest setting. This ensures that other resources like stone or flint are not farmed and therefore more metal comes out of one node. If they're not aberrant Ankis, they will take radiation damage and then die over time, leaving you with your metal alone. You yourself also need a hazard suit so you don't get radiation damage, but your Carcinus is immune to the damage either way, so you don't have to worry about that. If you look all the way down and then click C on PC, with your Karki, you can now simply throw your Anki at the rocks and farm all the metal. Simply level your Ankis into damage. For your Karki it doesn't matter what you level it into, as it's going to be overweight the whole time anyways. Then simply take your Ankis in one claw each and throw it towards the rocks you want to farm. Just look down if you want to throw short and look up if you want to throw far, and then just click C and swoosh. As long as the Karki can throw the Anki, you can continue farming. Just leave everything you farm in the Anki, because as soon as you take it out, you overload yourself and then you cannot move anymore and have to start all over again. If you want to know how to solo element veins to farm an insane amount of element, check out the linked video. After Aberration and Ragnarok, Valguero is the best map for farming organic polymer. In the right spot, you can be slot capped within seconds with a Diabear or a Meguana and take home tons of polymer. In the Aberration Cave, you can farm organic polymer, especially on the path from the green zone to the blue and radiation zones. The coordinates for this path are 51 and 61. You should be able to find it fairly easily. It's the spot where Reapers and Carcinus spawn. Meguanas and diabears are the best at farming organic polymer at this location. If you arrive with a diabear, make sure it's the aberrant variant, otherwise you'll take radiation damage and your bear will be dead in seconds. If you're farming with a meguana, feed it mushroom stew first, so it doesn't take damage from the radiation. And if you're afraid of creepers, carcinus or radiation, you can also use the cave at the bottom right of the map. A large number of polymer plants spawn there, which can be farmed with a bear or meguana. This entrance is about 78.3 and 90.4 at the bottom right of the map. The coolest thing about this cave is that you can simply fly into the cave with a pteranodon without being thrown off it. Once you're in a large room with a lake in the center, take the first crossing to the left and head in that direction. Every time you fly into the cave, you can also farm a large number of loot beacons. Fly over to the left side and hug the wall and follow it until you see small aberration plants on the left side, in which one of the red beacons should be now. You can loot this beacon if you come over here to farm polymer. On boosted servers, I would really recommend this cave, because you get a large amount of OP loot here along the polymer. If you want to know how to farm massive amounts of broken loot on Valguero, check out the linked video. Are you tired of playing alone on a dead server? Sick of lag, wipes and admins who never show up? Then it's time to join TBS, one of the biggest no-wipe servers, on which I'm actually playing and I'm making a video on. On top of that, on their PvP and PvE servers, they have all maps available cross-platform, custom caves that are truly outstanding, auto-lootable raid bases and even full 48-hour offline raid protection during the week. Not only that, but on weekends it switches to a 3x orb, which offers the possibility for offline raids, more action and so much more. A maximum of 4 players per tribe is allowed and there are cash prizes for the best tribes. Your starter kits and a bunch of other things are designed to help new players get started on these servers. And if you don't feel like defending your base at 3 AM in the morning, there are a bunch of other things that make it possible for players with jobs or normal lives to play. On top of that, if PvP isn't your thing, why not join one of their PvE servers? Stop wasting time on empty servers, come and play with a real community on TBS. Links are in the description. I'll see you on the cluster. Spoiled meat can be found in incredible amounts in the center of the map by farming these stranded creatures around the shores of the lake. With a pickaxe or chainsaw, you can easily get a ton of spoiled meat and organic polymer if you're farming these stranded dolphins. In addition to spoiled meat, depending on which creatures you farm, you will get either organic polymer, hide, keratin or oil. I don't know why, but I've seen it mentioned extremely often that the lake in the middle of this map is considered the best place to farm Silica Pearls. It's true that you can farm a few pearls with an angler at about 40 and 45. But why would you do that? The pearls in that spot are hard to see, there are very small clusters and you can't even see them with the tracker ability. It's absolute nonsense to farm in that spot and I don't know where everyone else comes up with that BS. Farming in the lake in the snow biome at 30 and 17 is so much easier because you can see the pearls 100 times better, the tracker ability works and there are way more pearls in that region. So if someone tells you to farm in the middle, they simply have no idea what they're talking about. It's better to go into the snow and come back with way more pearls than everyone else. Well, Valguero may not be the best map when it comes to farming Silica Pearls, but if you want to get slot capped with pearls, grab an angler and go into the lake in the snow, not in the center. There are 2 locations where you can farm black pearls. One location where it's relatively easy to get them and the other where you can farm a large amount of black pearls. The easiest method is to swim with a fish into the underground ocean. There aren't many black pearls, but you can easily see them and pick them up from the bottom with your hand. Yes, anglers do not work for these pearls. It's a bit weird on Valguero in general. Some pearls can be farmed with an angler, others cannot. It doesn't really make sense since there are a lot of Silica Pearls on the way down that can't be farmed with an angler. The second method is much better in terms of quantity of black pearls, but on the other hand, it's significantly more dangerous and is especially good to farm if you already have a tech suit or a meguana with enough weight. To get to the best spot for black pearls, you need to reach the deepest point of the rock drake scar in the aberration cave. There is an insane amount of black pearls on the ground that you can easily pick up with a whip. But don't forget that the entire area is radioactive, and if you enter this area with your meguana without giving it mushroom stew, it will die very quickly. Don't forget the hazard suit for yourself, or you will get burnt down to a crisp very fast too. There are two good locations for obsidian. The first is near the Silica Pearl lake in the middle of the snow biome. There you will find a good amount of obsidian, which is especially easy to farm in the early game, as there are very few dangerous creatures there. The worst things you will find there are dire wolves and mammoths, which will kill each other anyway. You'll find a large amount of obsidian in the northeast of the map in the Wyvern Scar. You can farm large amounts of obsidian on the ground near the lava. At least it's easy to farm crystal on Valguero, because you can find it literally everywhere on this map. Especially in the snow, the aberration zone and the north of the map. You'll often see large orange, blue, green or red crystals scattered around the area. There are usually large amounts of crystals near these constructs, which you can farm for either stone, crystal or rare mushrooms. Similar to crystal, oil is incredibly easy to find. Whether you stumble upon the oil rocks in the north of the map, discover oil veins in the east and west of the map, or simply encounter oil stones in the middle of the lake, oil is really everywhere. The quickest place to get oil is in and around the lake in the snow biome, where we already farmed Silica Pearls. In these regions, the oil rocks simply lie around the ground, waiting for you to smash them. If you don't want to travel far, you can find these oil stones pretty much everywhere underwater and mine them with a Dunkleostus. You need cementing paste? On Valguero, beaver dams, hands down. There is only one spot where you can find cement, but there is a lot of it. However, you really have to be careful in PvP here, since beavers are only found on the right side of the map near the green obelisk. This area will always be full of players trying to snag a little cementing paste. Along this lake, not only small but also large beaver dams spawn, which give a stupid amount of paste. A single large beaver dam can give up to 10 slots of paste. Unfortunately, there are also a lot of beavers there, and the lake is a bit deep in some places, which makes it hard for you to loot the beaver dams. But it's worth the effort. Just grab your Wyvern or Argentavis, fly close to the dams, grab the paste and get straight back on your creature. If you want to be a troll, just leave the wood in the dam. As long as the dam isn't destroyed, no new one will spawn, which means that if a player comes after you, he won't find any paste. If you're a nice guy, you destroy the dams you have looted, so that the players after you can get some paste. It's your decision. If you want to know how you can easily farm blueprints, loot, weapons and gear on Valguero, then watch the linked video. If you don't want to just farm cementing paste but also chitin, there's really only one tactic for Valguero: Broodmother Lythrix. The lair is probably the most unusual cave on the entire map, as the entrance is defended by an adult broodmother. Similar to the world bosses in Ragnarok, Valguero has a boss that roams the open world and you can kill. All you have to do is fly into the redwood and you'll find a large terrifying hole in the center of it, from which you can see the broodmother directly. Megatheriums deal extra damage against insects and deal incredible amounts of damage to the boss after just a few hits. The advantage of Megatheriums is that you can farm Chitin and kill the broodmother at the same time. To farm Chitin, simply place a stego or other tank nearby. Put some cake in its inventory so it can take as much damage as possible, and then attack the small spiders with your Megatherium. As long as the stego is alive and under attack by the broodmother, it will continuously spawn small spiders which you can kill with your Megatherium to farm Chitin. If there are too many players near the broodmother, you can also simply kill Carcinos in the aberration zone. Large numbers of Carcinos spawn there, and if you harvest them with a chainsaw, you can farm insane amounts of chitin and polymer. You only have one option for honey on Valguero, and that's bees in and around the redwood trees. The advantage of Valguero is that the redwood is very huge, allowing a large number of bees and their hives to spawn. In fact, you can find both on Valguero. Beehives spawn on the redwood trees, and at the same time there are wild bees flying around on the ground. Sap is pretty easy on Valguero, as you can see there are redroot trees basically everywhere in the south of the map. This means you craft some tree taps, find a tree you like and place them on the trees. After some time, you will have all the sap you need. With Survivormate you can automate farming tree sap and collect it every time you pass by. As an alternative, you can use an Elder Claw and the new plant ability that spawns small plants when the Elder Claw kills a creature, and you also get a lot of sap per plant. For rare flowers, grab your Ferricinosaurus and head to the Ascension Monument near the swamp. Along the river that leads from the swamp to the monument, you can find large amounts of rare flowers on the left and right side and farm them with your fairy. You can easily identify the flowers by the fact that they're blue flowers that look like rare flowers. So if it looks like a rare flower, it is one. Farming rare mushrooms is surprisingly easy in this swamp, as every tree there not only provides wood, fetch, but also a large amount of rare mushrooms. You can also farm them quite easily in the Aberration Zone, as there are plenty of mushrooms there. Just like in Aberration, you can simply pick them up from the ground. And if you want to know the best way to get the overpowered chainsaws and loot on Valguero, check out the linked video. You can farm Cactus in the bottom right corner of the map by simply grabbing a chainsaw and fly to the cactus trees there. There is also the option of farming these small cacti by hand or with a Trike Stego or any other creature you can find in that region. Valguero has one farm where you can find and pick up crops such as long grass and Rockarrot. This farm is at the center of the map at 54 and 52, and it can be found very early on. Especially in the early game, you can use the Rockarrot to tame a horse directly to make really fast progress early on and then rush into the redwood. It's best to look for this wall and then slightly walk to the east. Along this cliff you will find a ton of Rockarrot and long grass. You can't find citronelle or Savoroot here. You'll have to grow them yourself the traditional way. There are a large number of ovis in the area near the green obelisk at the bottom right and the center of the map. There are a handful of dedicated spawns here, where only sheep spawns. This area is relatively safe, as it is a starting area, and therefore only a few very weak aggressive creatures spawn there. The best place to find plant species eggs is the swamp in the eastern part of the map. In the swamp, there are plant eggs everywhere in this region, and you can just go there and pick them up. But be careful, this region is quite small and kinda dangerous because strong creatures like Rhyneos and Deinosuchus spawn there regularly. Rare flowers can be farmed in the same region. The best method is to harvest the blue flowers using a Ferricino. These flowers exclusively yield rare flowers, and your Ferricino will become slot capped with them in no time, even at low rates. In the top right corner of the map, in the middle of the Wyvern Scar, you can easily mine yellow rocks with a mantis and pickaxe to get sulfur. There are a ton of spots where an insane amount of sulfur stones spawn. If you find a stone, then you can be sure that there will be a few more stones around it. And now it's back to the Aberration Cave. This cave is the only place where you can find congealed gas. With gas collectors, you can easily build a small base there in most regions and passively farm gas while doing something else. These gas veins are usually near gem clusters, which you can mine at the same time. Talking about gems, you can find green, blue and red gems on Valguero, and farming them is easy if you know where to get them. Green gems are found exclusively, who would have thought, in the green zone of Aberration. There you will repeatedly see green crystals on the ceiling and walls. Under these, you can usually find small and large clusters of green gems, which you'll need then to build a hazard suit, so you can farm blue and red gems in the radiation zone. I'm putting these together in one spot because they are right next to each other and can be farmed super easily with a pickaxe. Even if they're already in the radiation zone, you can easily get them at the border between the green and the blue biome. And I hope you liked this video, and I'm thrilled to read if this video has helped you. Hit the like button, leave a comment below for the algorithm, and consider subbing to the channel. Alright, Frodo!